welcome. Do you ever come across those people on social media or in real life that like to stand there and say, I have no regrets at all, I don't live with regret, don't know what it feels like? Yeah? Annoying, aren't they? And slightly smug. Fortunately, I'm a normal person, so I'm not like that. And here's my little list of the most common gaming regrets. And I'm going to kick off with a big one, at least for me, and that is seller's remorse. Now, I'm not talking about your consoles you had growing up. Don't get me wrong, I'd still like my original Sega Mega Drive collection, as I'm sure you would your original PS1 or Super Nintendo collection. They're worth so much money now. I'm on about things you sell, maybe before you start collecting. For me, it was actually the thing that made me begin this journey. Before my PlayStation 4, I had an Xbox 360 and a reasonably sizable amount of games, 70 odd. When I bought my PlayStation 4, as I'd always done previously, I sold my old console and all my old games. And 6 to 9 months after having the PS4, as much as I loved it and still do, I wanted to play some of the other games, either that I hadn't got round to playing or to replay a couple. So I went out and I bought a PlayStation 3. The reason I went for that instead of an Xbox 360 was so I could play some of the 7th generation games which I'd missed out on previously. And down that slippery slope I went. And now, well, let's just say I'm not a hoarder, I'm a collector, and I need to point that out. At least I've learnt my lesson. So now, on the very rare occasions that I do part with something, I'm 100% certain before I do so. So I can avoid that oopsie daisy, I made a mistake feeling. Speaking of avoiding the feeling of regret, now is a brilliant time to press like and subscribe. Do it now, otherwise you'll regret doing it later. I'm looking after your feelings. I care. Next common one for me is simply placing my time where it could have been used better. None of us have an infinite amount of time to game. Unfortunately, real life gets in the way, and we have to allow at least some time for it. So when you do get a game, and you put hours and hours into it, to be completely disappointed at the end, well, that sucks, quite frankly. The best example I can give of this, for me personally, was Assassin's Creed 3. Now, I like the Assassin's Creed series, I like it a lot. Black Flag, still one of my favourite games of all time. But Assassin's Creed 3, it just didn't do it for me. I liked the initial bit, where I got to play as Haytham Kenway, because he was quite a cool guy, really. And when it turned out he was a Templar, good little twist. But then I had to be Connor for the rest of the game. And I just didn't like the character, or the gameplay particularly. I can't give you a specific reason, other than the fact I just felt really let down compared to the other games I've played before, and I just didn't enjoy it. But because I'm an Assassin's Creed fan, I played it through to completion, constantly waiting for it to hook me, to get better. And it didn't. I could have played something much more enjoyable and placed that time somewhere I would have felt it was better spent. Oops. Here's another one I bet you've done before. Buying something really expensive and being disappointed with it. When I got my PS4, after about the first year, I went out and bought myself the PlayStation VR headset kit. And I got the Iron Man set as well, so I had the two controllers. You know, they had little balls at the end, looked like golf balls. And initially, I thought this thing was absolutely awesome, and the Iron Man game was good fun. I also had the Batman Detective game at some point. That was also good fun. But the novelty wore off so very quickly for me. It probably didn't help, but I did get motion sick with it as well. That was definitely a downside. And before I knew it, it was gathering dust and I hadn't touched it for over 6 months. So I sold it for about half the price I paid for it. It was quite expensive at the time, good couple of £100 or more, and I lost over half of that price because the novelty wore off and that's all it really was to me. A novelty that made me seasick in my lounge. I'm not saying it didn't get better after I got rid of it, and I've got no idea what PSVR 2's like. I may give it a go at some point, but I'll be honest, I'm a little bit hesitant because I don't want to make another big purchase and waste money again. And on that note is just generally, buying the wrong thing. Maybe you bought an Xbox instead of a PlayStation and you regret it. Maybe you bought a PlayStation instead of an Xbox. Maybe you went out and bought a graphics card for your built-at-home PC, installed it into your machine, sat back to enjoy the best frame rate experience of your life, just to find that your favourite game actually runs a little bit rough on it. Because you didn't do your research, you didn't look into it, or you just made an honest mistake. Now again, this is personal, whether it was a mistake to you is personal. It depends what you like. But I think we all have that feeling of, I've bought this now, I'm stuck with it now, I wish I'd bought something different instead. Little lesson there, of course, do your due diligence. Read a few reviews, watch a bit of gameplay, never hurts. Because mistakes can be expensive. And keeping in with that theme is FOMO, better known as fear of missing out. Now sometimes this can be absolutely fantastic. If it wasn't for that feeling, I wouldn't have bought a Nintendo Switch last year, and it is currently my most played console. Love my Switch. So it does definitely have a silver lining. But equally, it can get expensive too. For example, when I first bought my Switch, I started off with the Switch Lite, because I planned to use it in handheld mode anyway, and it was cheaper. Why not save £100? So there I was, quite happily playing with it, but I kept watching YouTube and seeing people with the standard Switch, and docking it and undocking it, and enjoying the HD rumble and slightly bigger screen, and I got FOMO. I got fear of missing out, so then I bought the standard one. And since I've had it, I've barely touched my Switch Lite. Might sell it soon, actually. But see point one, I'm not good at selling things anymore. And now, as happy as I am with it, I kind of wish I'd bought the OLED. And I'm tempted, but then again, that's a third Switch console. Okay, I could sell one or both of the ones I've got. When sometimes you just should be happy with what you have. Knowing there's something different out there which could be better shouldn't give me this itchy brain nagging feeling saying, gotta get it, gotta get it, gotta get it, gotta get it. But oh boy, it does. Ignoring reviews. Now, I'm the first one to say, do not let other people make your opinion up for you. Make your own mind up. Because we're all different people with different likes and dislikes. That said, the odd review here and there as part of due diligence, it doesn't really do any harm. Case in point, after it had been out for less than a month, I bought Cyberpunk on the PS4. Now, not only were the reviews out for this, but it was even on the news. The fact that this highly anticipated game had been launched in a shit state. But it was virtually unplayable. But I chose to ignore it. So I went down the shop, bought it brand new from game, paid full price, and ended up trading it in less than 2 weeks later. Because at the time, it was virtually unplayable on the PS4. So not only did I miss out on money, but I took this really great experience, I hyped it up higher and higher in my mind. I was so excited just to get that feeling of letdown. Which sucks. If I'd just listened to what people were saying, waited until the patches were released, and they said it was good and playable, not only could I have got the game cheaper by then, because it would have come down in price by virtue of time passing, I'd have got a really good experience. As it is, I've not rebought it since I traded it back in. And I've potentially missed out on a great gaming experience. In fact, if you've played Cyberpunk, let me know if it's any good now. And should I get it on the PS4 or wait until I get a PS5 later this year? Still saving. And lastly, this one I've got mostly in control, to be fair, buying a brand new game on release, and then by the time I get around to playing it, it's dropped in price quite a lot. Now, Switch games don't drop much, to be fair, especially the first party Nintendo ones, but they do come down in price. PlayStation and Xbox, they come down quite quickly. But in the past, the amount of times I've done my pre-order on Amazon, I've got it delivered the day or the day after it launches, I've put it on my pile near the top because I think I'm going to play that next, and I don't play it for 3, 4, 5, 6 months. One of the first games I bought for my Switch last year was Breath of the Wild. Now obviously it wasn't brand new out, I'm just using this as an example. I bought the Switch, I bought Breath of the Wild, and 2 other games. I still haven't played Breath of the Wild, and I've owned it for a year now. Now, that wasn't a brand new release, so I've not lost any money by buying it when I did, but you see the point. Buying something for full price, brand new, when it comes out, is only worthwhile if you're going to play it straight away. Even if it's going to be a matter of a month, or even 2 or 3 weeks, it might just be worth waiting, holding on, because people will buy these games brand new, play them through within a week or 2, and then instantly sell them on to recoup a lot of their money back. Which again is another good tip actually. If you're not someone who wants to have a big collection and you want to play something immediately, buy it, play it straight through, and then resell it, and you'll recoup a lot of your cost. You could always buy it again in the future when it comes cheaper, but I digress. That was a bonus tip. Just be vigilant. Unless you're ready to play it that day or the next day, don't buy it for full price. Personally, I very rarely buy brand new games full stop, because I find it's simply just not worth it. The last brand new game I bought was Risen for the Switch because it was a game.co.uk exclusive game, and it was the only way I could guarantee getting it, and I really wanted it. But as it was a remaster of a 7th generation game, it was only about 27, 28 quid anyway. Zelda Tears of the Kingdom comes out next week. If I'd played through Breath of the Wild, I would potentially be looking to get that very soon. As it stands, I'm not going to buy it at all until I play through Breath of the Wild. And I might not buy it immediately after that because I want to play something else. It's 60 quid brand new here in the UK right now. By the time I get round to buying it, around Christmas time as a guess at the earliest, could be 50, 45, even 40 quid. Every penny counts. Especially if you want to build a bit of a collection. Don't buy new unless you're going to play it straight away. So let me know in the comments any gaming regrets you've got, big or small. Really look forward to hearing from you. Love the interaction in the comments. And I'll see you very, very soon. Ta-da!